May I remind you that trading is risky and not suitable for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Please stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you can afford to lose. Welcome to QuantBox Daily. Today is Thursday, March 30th. Apologies for the delay, friends. I've been having technical issues this morning. I'm now finally getting this video up and running with proper audio and sound and video and everything else. I hope that you are well. What is QuantBox? QuantBox is your global macroeconomic quant in a box. It's a fundamental tool that gives you all the fundamental data that you need to establish a fundamental bias and then allocate that towards a technical currency pair and trade that in the market. It sounds complicated. It's not. It really isn't. It really isn't. So QuantBox pulls in data from a number of different sources, and it says to you, for example, Aussie USD is bearish for the following reasons. Not just like it's bearish, but it's bearish because of A, B, C, D. And you can then look at that A, B, C, D and identify where change is taking place and how bearish it really is. It's very, very, very powerful. If you've done any fundamental analysis in your trading, which I hope you have, because if you haven't, then maybe your results aren't as good as they could be. If you have, you know how difficult and time-consuming this is. Pulling data from all these sources is a mission. Okay, it takes up your whole weekend. Now it's 5 seconds. 790, 1 week trial. So here we are, friends. Score chart summary. Now today's conversation, we normally go into the pairs and have a look at the pairs and say, oh, look, here we go, here we go, here we go. Nothing much has changed, friends. Okay, nothing much has changed. If I go take a look at the yen pairs, you can see here, and this is what I've been speaking about this week quite a bit, the COT data. Okay, now we're going to wait till tomorrow to get the COT data, but I'm looking at the COT data saying, am I going to get a change? Okay, you can start to see we've seen some pairs come in here, some pairs go out of here, lots of neutral left-hand side. Okay, you can see EuroCAD, for example, coming through the 2 on COT data, but we've got some bearish fundamental data. So what I'm looking for at the moment in these currency pairs is change, okay? Whether it's Aussie USD, which currently has a very bearish bias. You can see here, there's very little green. We got a bit of green over here. Let's go to Aussie USD. We got a bit of green over here in unemployment. Okay, otherwise it's red across the board, okay? But technically, chilling over here. Okay, not in a great position to be selling at the moment. Got resistance, got support, not fantastic, okay? Sort of these higher lows forming over here. Still long-term bearish, right? We haven't broken resistance, and resistance hasn't become support, but these higher lows here are a warning sign to a bear, but fundamentally still very, very bearish, right? So what needs to change? Well, for me right now, fundamentals seem aligned with strong bearishness. Technicals have to change, okay? I'm waiting for a change here. Whereas some other pairs, excuse me, some other pairs, I'm waiting for changes over here. So for example, if you take a look at this Euro Kiwi, okay, let's go look at Euro Kiwi. This is why QuantBox is more than just like, oh, look, it says bearish and it goes sell. It's so much more than that, right? So here's Euro Kiwi. So Euro Kiwi coming through neutral. COT data, market's currently net long on Euro Kiwi, but lots of red data, okay? So that tells me, like, I'm looking for a change. Is the data, the news data, the fundamental data, the macro, is it going to cause COT data to change? Tomorrow, when we get COT data out, are we going to suddenly start seeing a shift in long-term positions? Until then, I'm waiting on this particular pair, right? Now, can you imagine if you didn't have this dashboard, how difficult it would be to pull that information? Because if you've been looking at COT data on its own, in isolation, you'd simply say, oh, wow, Euro Kiwi, market's currently bullish. I guess I'll buy. But imagine if you didn't have this tool, you wouldn't be able to see all of this, especially seasonality, right? Beautiful stuff. So right now I'm looking for change there. Now, in terms of my score chart summary, looking over here, there's quite a few pairs right now where we have not got any net long or net short on the currency pair, i.e. COT data, right? Fantastic. So looking for a change over there. With regards to currency pairs, we have got significant bullishness or bearishness. Well, we got Aussie USD right at the bottom, and we got USD CAD right at the top, and USD ZAR. So the USD ZAR and USD CAD. USD ZAR actually kind of the opposite of Aussie USD. Let's take a look at USD ZAR. So Aussie USD very much below everything, you know, it's got out of position for sells completely. USD ZAR over here, it's the same thing, right? Just opposite, all the way up here. So what's going to happen? Well, we would expect to see price coming down, but does something change in the fundamental bias? Okay. Now, not much has changed on the rest of these pairs. Okay. You can go through the currencies. You can have a look and see. I mean, you go through our dollars. We'll take a look and see. You can see here, you know, Aussie USD we looked at right now. We've got euro dollar over here. You can see not much is changing, although you are paying attention to that over there. Okay. Pound dollar. You're looking for price to come to the top of this range, like we discussed. Okay. Kiwi dollar. Currently ranging. USD CAD we've looked at. All the yen pairs. Coming at the bottom of the range, coming up higher, just like we expected. You've got price coming to the monthly S2. Okay. Is price going to make a lower high after making a lower low? We have to measure this and see, is this a lower low? Did price close at support? On an 84 time frame, not looking incredibly bearish right now. Okay. But as far as Aussie yen's concerned, -3, it's a sell for sure. But the COT data, my friends, when is that going to change? Now, of course, you could be looking at Aussie yen and saying, I want to sell this because price broke out, pulled back. But my big concern is, why did price break back inside the range? However, when price broke back inside the range, you didn't touch support. Okay. So this could be a good place to sell. Not a good place to sell in terms of position, but resistance. Fine. Fair enough. Looking at this over here, do you have the lower low, lower high? Do you have the lower low, lower high? Okay. On the M15. Looking at the rest of our yen pairs, CAD yen, see sideways. Pound yen, very much sideways. And euro yen, very much sideways, right? Looking at these pairs over here, Kiwi yen, Aussie yen, CAD yen, pound yen. Neutral in the pound yen, okay? But ultimately, even if they are bearish, why is the market not net bearish? And is that going to change? I want to see what the next COT data report says. This next COT report says. I'd like to see that data. And is there a change over there, right? The question is, do you see the change technically or do you see it fundamentally? Well, I think technically it would make sense if it's a COT data, because by the time you get the report, their positions are in, they've already taken that position. So keep an eye on those pairs, but be very sure to make sure you're at resistance and that you are in position for sells, right? So far as the Swissies are concerned, we take a look at those quickly. Aussie Swissy, you can see there, not happy with that. CAD Swissy, not happy with that. Euro Swissy, not happy with that. Pound Swissy, not happy with that. And then Kiwi Swissy, not happy with that, right? So now, looking over here, CAD Swissy, look at the zeros, friends. So my first step right now is technically fine. Yeah, look for opportunities. Fantastic. That pound dollar, definitely looking for opportunities at the top of that range. But ultimately, I'm looking for change in this data over here into tomorrow's report. Okay. But I also want to see how it ties into everything else. For example, if I've got a pair where we currently are, say, Euro CAD, bullish, I've got lots of bearish data. Is there going to be a change in that tomorrow? I'm looking for changes. I'm looking for changes in structure, getting out of these ranges. I'm looking for changes in data to now pick a correct direction, get this market flowing, right? Change is important because right now, everything, pretty much low volatility, not the most amazing trends, right? Lots of data where markets and traders are waiting for something before they take a stand in a direction. Once they do, and once it aligns with the technicals, there's money to be made. But that's what I'm waiting for, patiently. Okay. So keep an eye on your fundamentals. Keep an eye on what's making something bullish or bearish. Right. We spoke about this yesterday. Right. We said there, have you got opposing forces coming together here in the sentiment, i.e., are both of them bullish? Are they both bearish? They're both, there's one bullish and one bearish. You want that. You definitely want this over here, right? One bullish, one bearish, one bearish, one bullish. But what's happening with the COT data when the data over here also is bearish, right? Where's that change? Is it saying the same thing? Because right now, you can see your COT is saying bullish, but this data is saying bearish. Opposing forces, right? We want everything to be going in the same direction. Okay. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on at the moment. I'm looking for change, be it in the charts. In terms of the trades I'm paying attention to right now, definitely pound dollar, for sure. I'm looking at the top of this range over here, waiting for price to get up there. We've got a beautiful bearish indication on pound dollar fundamentally. Okay, you can see here, we've got a pound dollar. Everything's red except for one thing, two things. Okay, retail sentiment doesn't bother me. Trend reading doesn't bother me. So, because you can see right now, not much of a trend. Okay, the 5 and the 8 obviously crossed, nice little momentum there for sure, but we can agree that there's no trend. So if price comes up top of this range, I'd like to sell. Why? Bearish. So try and find other pairs that are the same. I don't see any right now besides pound dollar. But what I like about pound dollar, technically I've got resistance coming up. I've got fantastic bullishness and bearishness in my sentiment, and my data all says the same thing. Okay. Again, if it wasn't for this tool, I wouldn't be able to do that so simply and so easily. Very, very powerful. I hope that you're using it and enjoying it, right? And in terms of the volatility that's currently in the market, it will pass. Absolutely 100%. Be patient. Have an amazing day, friends. I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Stay patient, stay disciplined, stay liquid. All the best.